MCAT 2017 Cram, Critical Analysis and Reasoning Skills, Flashcard Set 7.2, Disaster Risk Knowledge in Nepal. As you view the reading of this passage, take notice of any highlighted snippets of text. These selections are meant to support the selection of the correct answer choice, so definitely garner meaning from them without neglecting the reading of the entire thing. You have to, view the whole thing to gain full understanding. So the question that's going to follow the passage is a reasoning within the text type question that will ask you to think about the claim the author is trying to support with a piece of evidence and what assumptions underlies specific statements and whether or not the argument is flawed are things that you're going to have to think about. Okay? All right. Good luck and happy reading. Paragraph 1. Disaster risk is expressed in terms of potential loss of lives, deterioration of health status and livelihoods, and potential damage to assets and service due to the impact of existing natural hazards. Disaster risk reduction is a systematic approach to identifying, assessing, and reducing disaster risk, and it helps minimize the vulnerability of a society or community. It also prevents or mitigates the adverse effects of natural disasters, facilitating a sustainable development process. The Second World Conference on Disaster Reduction, held in Kobe, Hyogo, Japan, in January 2005, which adopted the Hyogo Framework of Action, HFA 2005 to 2015, building the resilience of nations and communities to disasters. It has provided a unique opportunity to promote strategic and systematic approach to reducing vulnerabilities and risks. HFA states that all countries must use knowledge, innovation, and education to build a culture of safety and resilience at all levels. Moreover, it suggests that disasters can be reduced substantially if people are well informed and motivated about measures they can take to reduce vulnerability. Poverty drives people to live in high-risk, marginal areas of mountains, river valleys, of disasters in underdeveloped or developing countries. DRR is particularly important for sustaining the attainment of all developmental goals since it provides a safety net for the hard-earned development gains of a developing country. In Nepal, it is a great challenge to protect infrastructure and public and individual properties from frequent landslide, flood, and earthquake disasters. Each year, hundreds of people are killed and a large amount of public and private properties are destroyed in landslide, flood, fire, and avalanche disasters. Each large-scale disaster sets the country back several years in terms of the development efforts. When scarce resources such as time, energy, expertise, and funding are suddenly diverted in relief and recovery work, the overall developmental activities are delayed significantly. Paragraph 3. The disaster statistics in Nepal always motivate and justify the urgent need of DRR works in Nepal. Therefore, Nepal has also adopted HFA, and so far the government of Nepal has formally adopted policies guided by DRR and implemented the DRR in its various development as well as education programs. In Nepal, the World Disaster Reduction Campaign of 2006-2007 was initiated, and many programs such as school curricula for disaster risk education, community-based disaster management at the village level, disaster mitigation plans at the district level, etc., have been implemented. Similarly, raising awareness within school communities is a well-implemented program in the schools of Nepal. This awareness activity includes training of teachers, organizing disaster quiz competitions among schools and local youth clubs, school contests on disaster risk knowledge, campaigning for disaster safety in communities, and turning school students into catalysts and initiators in many more community-based disaster awareness activities. Which claim made in the text is inconsistent with another claim made in paragraph 3? Is it A, Nepal in the Himalayan region is one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world? B, disasters can be reduced substantially if people are well-informed and motivated about measures they can take to reduce vulnerability? Is it C, each large-scale disaster sets the country back several years in terms of the development efforts? Or is it D, raising awareness within school communities is a well-implemented program in the schools in Nepal? Definitely press pause if you need to and open up a second screen so you can view the necessary paragraphs to aid in the selection of the correct answer choice. I'll give you a moment to think. All right, so hopefully by now you've come up with the correct answer choice. Okay, so based on the formatting of this question, this is definitely a reasoning within the text question that's asking you to think about what claim the author is trying to support with a piece of evidence, and you have to also consider what assumptions underlie specific statements and whether or not this argument is flawed, which apparently it is because we're being quizzed on the inconsistencies, okay? So the first sentence in paragraph 3 states that, quote, poverty drives people to live in high-risk marginal areas of mountains and river valleys, which makes them vulnerable to disasters. This implies that poor people have little choice and are forced by need to live in high-risk areas. Thus, without addressing their poverty, simply being informed and motivated would do very little to reduce their vulnerability. Okay, so I'm leaning towards answer choice B. The other options, answer choice A, C, and D, are not inconsistent with anything in paragraph 3 specifically or any other part of the text. So I feel like the correct answer choice is answer choice B, because although this sounds good in theory, in reality, you got to address poverty first, okay? All right,